And someone called Naftali Temu got a gold medal. And he was standing on the podium with the national anthem being played. Now, it was about 2 a.m. in the UK and about midday in Mexico. But I felt so proud that I found tears flowing from my eyes. So what have I been talking about? Let this organization find a way by which the national anthem will be played and sung, where it will be sung by all people in churches, all students, all wananchi of Kenya. There is one church in Kenya where they sing the national anthem every Sunday, and that's St. Francis Church in Karen. I wish all the churches would do the same. I wish all the schools could sing the national anthem. I wish all the members of parliament and senators could sing the national anthem. Sometimes they have disagreements there. Now, if there is a disagreement, I would propose you just sing the national anthem. Thank you very much, the director of this organization, and also the guest of honor, to have invited me to this occasion. At least you know that one of the composers of the national anthem is still alive. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Makofi kwa Professor Washington Omondi. Tafadhali tumshukuru akiketi. Tumshukuru kwa makofi tafadhali mpaka akiketi. Speaking to the challenges of this country since independence, speaking to the issue of Mwacha Mila ni mtumwa, the challenges of our faulty history and the need to teach our young people the right history, because it is out of that that we will be able to nurture our Utu. Thank you so much. Our chief guest, in PDF, we concern ourselves a lot about intergenerational dialogue. You're seated next to Kayla, who is 12 years, and on the same row, there's Professor Washington Omondi at 82, a difference of 70 years. And this is the conversation that we want this country to have. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to then invite, on behalf of elected leaders, the Senator for Nairobi, who's also the Vice Chair Emeritus, Honorable Edwin Sifuna. Please welcome the Senator to speak and recognize all the leaders. DJ.
DJ Oriomuno, Muriomuno Mwesi. Good afternoon, no, good morning everyone. Good morning everyone. Yeah, Your Excellencies, ambassadors, my colleagues, members of parliament, all elected officials, I can see leaders of different political parties, and our students, our teachers, all protocols observed. It is indeed an honor to be here once again for the People's Dialogue Festival. As you have heard, my name is Edwin Sifuna, Senator for this great county of Nairobi, Secretary General of the ODM party, and also the Deputy Whip of the minority in the Senate. I want to confirm that it is indeed an honor and pleasure to meet you, Professor Washington Omondi. and to shake your hand. I also want to confirm to you that I am not one of those members of parliament who do not know the words of our national anthem. And when I come back to sit down, I will prove it to you by singing stanza 3 to 2 to 1, that way. Honorable members and those present, I have been given the task of not only welcoming all of you to Nairobi City, but also to recognize those amongst us who are serving members, either of the county assemblies or indeed the national parliament. And I have also seen colleagues from the East African Legislative Assembly. If it is possible for you to be upstanding so that I can see you and recognize you, I beg that you do so. I know Honorable Farah Maalim is representing the Speaker, is the Deputy Speaker in the National Assembly. I can see Honorable Kanini Kega, who we are with in the same coalition, and I voted for to be a representative of Kenya in the East African Legislative Assembly. But these days we quarrel from time to time, but that is why we are here. Mheshimiwa Professor Washington Omondi, yesterday, yes, karibu sana Mheshimiwa. Yesterday, the President was at the Senate because the members of the East Africa Legislative Assembly are holding their plenary sessions in the country, and they started by having a session in the Senate. And I was in one of the committee rooms upstairs, and the national anthem began to play. We were having a meeting, and all of us stood up instinctively because it is one of the most beautiful, most recognizable tunes of all national anthems there are. So on behalf of our generation, if no one has ever said thank you to you, Professor Omondi, let me take that opportunity to thank you and all the other composers who came up with that beautiful song. And I personally haven't had a better rendition of the national anthem than the one that is played by the band, our KDF band. It is absolutely beautiful and amazing. We are here under a very poignant theme, that of dialogue, competition, and collaboration in democratic development. As you know, we are currently in Parliament discussing a product of dialogue. And I am very proud to say that in the Senate, we have already approved the National Dialogue Committee report that is a product of bipartisanship between our various political interests in this country. And I want to make this assurance here that in fact we in ODM have understood the value of competition and collaboration amongst political parties. It is almost frowned upon in this country to be seen with your political opponents. And those of you who follow Kenyan politics will understand that immediately a picture of my party leader, Honorable Raila Odinga, emerged with the President of the Republic, Honorable William Ruto, and the President of Uganda. There has been a lot of things being said. It is as if it is not allowed for us to shake hands or to be in the same space at all. If I sit down with Honorable Farah Maalim, or indeed Honorable Kanini Kega, there are many things that we can discuss that do not entail Kanini Kega joining ODM, or indeed me joining his faction of Jubilee. No, we have many things that we can put on the table to discuss as leaders of this country. And I want to reiterate that ODM as a political party, and the Azimio coalition by extension, will always value the place of dialogue in ensuring that we're able to resolve conflicts amongst political parties in a manner that is peaceful. Lastly, I think it was the other day when we were celebrating 20 years of a Center for Multi-Party Democracy. I think I should have disclosed to you that I am also a former vice chairperson of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. And in my remarks during that event, I said that the responsibility for our generation and this generation that is coming behind us is to ensure that every single gain that we have had in the democratic space in this country is protected. Because there is no guarantee that things will always be like this. Professor Omondi, about 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, I stood here to graduate from the University of Nairobi with a bachelor's degree in law. And in fact, this is the first time I'm coming back. If you remember the election of 2002, my generation, that was the first time I was casting a ballot in this country. And I voted for Mwai Kibaki. I am a Luya. You have heard the music that was played. I am a Luya, but I voted for Kibaki, knowing Kibaki is a Kikuyu. I voted in 2007 for Raila Odinga, knowing Raila is not a Luya. He is a Luo. I, in fact, as Edwin Sifuna, have never voted for a Luya presidential candidate. Yet I am a Luya. In 2001, Professor Omondi, I believed that we had buried tribalism. Personally, I saw it. We were so enthusiastic in the voting lines. Everybody was saying we want to get rid of this monster called KANU. We want freedom to speak. We want freedom to meet. We want freedom to worship. And that is why we were so enthusiastic in those lines. I can assure you, Professor, the disappointment that you felt when you were asked what your tribe is a disappointment we all face right now, seeing how tribalism has reared its head back into our society. And I am hoping, for the sake of the younger ones here, that we can create a country that is different from the one we inherited, that we will have a generation that will rise up and defeat this monster called tribalism, that we will re-inject meritocracy in the hiring of people. We will give people opportunities, all these young people going to school and doing their best to make sure that they get an education, should have a fair chance, irrespective of what their second names are. So I want to conclude my remarks by saying that at least for us, as a generation of political leaders, we have a responsibility to learn from those who have gone before us, to pick the good that they can teach us, and to leave the bad manners behind. We want to build a country where everybody feels they have a fair chance to make themselves something, and that they will be viewed for what they bring to the table and not where they come from in this country. I thank you, and I wish you very fruitful deliberations. Because I'm the senator of Nairobi, and the young people call me the cabinet secretary for enjoyment. If there is anything you need, tell me today. I can see our ambassadors here. Kama hajawahi kula nyama choma, tumuingize masehemu, si ndio? Ama mnasemaje? Kuna sehemu za sherehe, waone sherehe vile Nairobi inakuaga namna gani, halafu pia tuzungumze mambo serious kidogo. Kwa vijana wetu wa shule, mzidi kutia bidii shuleni. I can assure you, those of us who are in leadership positions are working day and night to build a country that you can be proud of. Asante sana, Mungu awabariki.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Edwin Sifuna, the Senator for Nairobi, for reiterating that. Please turn to your neighbor and ask them this question. Wewe ni kabila gani? And tell me the answer. Anyone who had, I am Kenyan, by show of hand? Did you hear I am Kenyan? Wengine walikuambia mimi ni mtu ya Mlembe, mimi ni Mugema. We are building a country called Kenya. And in our diversity, sure that we are cohesive, we are politically stable, and we are fashioning up a country whose economic development is sustainable and inclusive for us all. Our honorable guest, in this PDF, we don't just call our children to listen to us because we are elders. Our children have voices. And we work with partners to ensure that we bring these children and have their voice heard on the same podium as our chief guest. I want now to invite Kayla Mwinamo, a 12-year-old from Jawabu School, who's brought to us here courtesy of Mtoto News, an organization that we partner with. Tafadhali makofi DJ, invite.
Chosen generation.
Hi. So I'm actually 13, not 12. But I'm very honored to be here. So, good morning. So 50, did you know that 52% of the population in Kenya are children? While people say that children are the leaders of tomorrow, I believe that children are the leaders of today. Now, before I tell you about child leadership, what is a leader? Well, according to the English dictionary, a leader is a person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country. But a leader is also someone who has integrity, empathy, communication, and is an active listener. You might know what a leader is, but why are they that important? Leaders are there to establish a clear direction and goal and inspire others using communication and teamwork among team members to help them succeed. It is important for children to lead. We are the future. Letting them lead benefits us, but additionally, them too. Leading allows children to have control over their lives and their ability to make things happen. Children need to practice self-regulation skills and build independence. What better way than to let them take charge? Some children around the world have already started changing their communities. For example, Jalen Arnold. He was diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome, an obsessive-compulsive disorder. He started the Jalen's Challenge Foundation to advocate for bullying prevention. He educates children about preventing bullying and was named a World of Children Award honoree in 2014. So someone closer to us from Africa is Yola Mgogwana. Born and raised in Cape Town, 11-year-old Yola Mgogwana sees the effects of climate change every single day. One day it is hot, and the next day it is heavily raining. The farmers, and ultimately the whole community, is suffering from its consequences. Yola decided to do something about it. She started volunteering with an organization called the Earth Child Project, which works to educate school children and communities about the environment. Through the organization, she has spoken to thousands of young people in Cape Town, empowering them to take action for a better future. Ways children can be involved in leadership is by identifying a cause and doing something about it, just as Jalen and Yola did. They fixed something that was not working in their community. Here in Kenya, I believe that children can play a part in positively influencing climate change. One of the problems faced in Kenya is a lack of adequate forest cover. Kenya is one of the least forested countries in Africa. The global average is 420 trees per person, whereas Kenya stands at 67 trees per person. Kenya forests are important because they host 1,847 species of animals and 6,505 types of vascular plants. I strongly believe here in Kenya, as children, we can play a role in creating awareness and rallying support for our fellow children to keep planting trees to ensure reduce of the harmful effects of deforestation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DJ. Can we have Kayla escorted?
God has given me, and I know
Please appreciate Kayla as she sits.
we are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life.
Do you listen to your children? Or the children have to listen to you? Lazima wasikize. It is important that we have a conversation with our young people. I want to take this opportunity to welcome, and we have been having a conversation about the boy child. We go to church, the boy child is missing. I have a young man who just joined university the other day. He's been telling me we have a ratio of 4:1, 4 girls, 4 ladies to 1 gentleman. Of course, as young men, they're excited by that ratio. But fathers, where are the boys? To speak to us about the boy child, I want to invite Brian Jones Adede from Dandora School to deliver his remarks. Brian, please welcome.
Spread out and I do me thingy. The DJ did that nice it up. Lord, Lord, Lord. Then the crowd started to dance and sing. All of a sudden, the dance mash up. Lord, but me no know who.
So, with all protocols observed, good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a very wonderful day today. First, allow me to start by first registering my gratitudes for the organizers of this event in March 2024. I would also like to deliver my appreciation for giving me this chance to actually express myself in terms of the boy child. We all know how hard or at times how difficult it is for a boy's life. Knowing that you're in the radar when it comes to police and the government and even security in terms of welfare and everything, considering the boy child, we are in a very hot radar. So at times, we may face situations which may puzzle us in very various many ways. So with me today, coming from a very, very insecure environment, I like to say that we are actually being boys in our community. This is because we can probably indulge in some instances such as drugs, influence, peer pressure, and so on. And these things actually impact us in very, very negative ways when we don't have self-control amongst ourselves. So we should actually have a way of controlling what we do and who we associate with in terms of influence and peer pressure. So first off, I'd like to kick off with sending my gratitude once more. And as I was coming today, I got to look at our environment in terms of security, in terms of how clean the environment is, and I compared it with where we come from. You can find that most of the boy child are actually the ones who are hustling around, and they don't have a sense of direction. And this should not be directed to them, because one thing that we can be sure of is not their fault. So whose fault is it then? Why is it that boys are actually suffering more? Why is it that in terms of education purpose, in terms of families, in terms of peer pressure, why is it that the boy child is the one to be suffering? There are programs which have been directed to us, and most of them have actually dwelled on the girl child. The girl child, they are being considered more in terms of various things. And this probably, if viewed in different ways, since we all know we have different opinions when it comes to viewing stuff. I can have a view on something, and at the same time, my view is different from yours. So we can find that the girl child are actually the ones who are actually considered the most. And it's something to be understood, yes, because they encounter the most, they suffer. We can talk of peer pressure when basing it as teenagers and as the students, and from where we come from, our backgrounds and everywhere, our community actually influences us. So the voice of the boy child should be heard, and that when then will promote equality and equalism will actually be considered as a factor. So moving on to our community, we actually have or receive cases of boys probably being ended their life because of some uncouth or probably uncouth behaviors. And this is because most of them suffer from pressure, and also the boy child, and we can talk about the feeling of probably knowing that you actually have to take care of someone at home, or probably you don't have a place with which you can start from. You don't know where to start from in terms of you taking care of your life, you taking care of someone who's actually relying on you solely. So these may make someone indulge in behaviors which can spotlight you on the government, and they'll take charge. We actually had several programs in our school, and these programs were actually there to encourage us or probably make us change our views when it comes to how we view the community and how we actually encounter and how we deal with peer pressure and community influences. So when we consider that, we'll actually know that we considering the boy child, and I hope their voice will be heard. Thank you.
Can we please appreciate Jones as he takes his seat? Can I see fathers? Can fathers raise their hand up? Fathers, fathers, fathers. The boy child is asking, where are you? Have you heard them? Drugs are finishing the boy child. Peer pressure is finishing the boy child. The boy child wants a voice. Brian Jones Adede and your age mates, we assure you that PDF is that place to bring that voice. And not just to talk to yourselves, but we'll have our fathers and mothers and our leaders here to have a conversation. Thank you so much. I want to recognize the presence of Imenti, Central Member of Parliament. Please, Honorable Daud, thank you very much for joining us. I also want to acknowledge Honorable Gideon Ochanda, the Chair of the Parliamentary Caucus on SDGs, for joining us. We have our Deputy Registrars of Political Parties, Madam Florence and Dugu Ali. I want to appreciate you for joining us. At this point, we want to hear from another voice that we have generally learned to exclude. And we continue that way, then we're not developing an inclusive society. Please help Eric Ngondi, the chair of the United Disabled Persons of Kenya, to come on stage and speak to us. Can we appreciate Eric as he comes, please? Can we appreciate Eric? Thank you, DJ.
This is New Generation Dumulo. Engine Dumulo.
Thank you, Father Frank.
Thank you, Bwana Frank, our Master of Ceremony and the Executive Director. Our Chief Guest, Honorable Fala Marim, our outgoing Chairperson, CMD, Madam Nyokavi, our Honorable, our Excellency Ambassadors present here today, Honorable Members of Parliament and Senators here, all leaders here today, all invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good morning. Well, I did not get a response. Good morning. Thank you. I must start by appreciating CMD for inviting us here today, and we truly thank you. Myself, I'm thrilled, I'm excited to be here. When the MC was calling people out to dance, I must have moved in the opposite directions. When he said move this way, I must have moved this the other way. When he said chini kwa chini, I must have gone the other way. And that's why I love this space, simply because it's inclusive of all of us. So thank you, CMD, for the opportunity. So my name is Eric Ngondi. I am the chair of United Disabled Persons of Kenya, UDPK. It is the umbrella, the national umbrella body of organizations of persons with disabilities in the country, mandated to champion the united voices of persons with disability. It also champions meaningful inclusion of persons with disabilities in all spheres of life, as enshrined in our Constitution, all other international treaties, the conventions of persons with disabilities. We are proud that we are here, courtesy of CMD. And as I was preparing what to share today, I wondered what more can I add to this important stage where many legendary people like Prof. Omondi has stood and others. And I thought the simple thing to share with you is my journey. And within this space, I'll be talking in the few minutes that I have. Just want to share with you my journey as a person with visual impairment. So obviously 13 years ago, I was involved in a violent robbery and I lost sight. So I was attacked and I lost my eyes. Well, I did not lose my vision. So for that important information, just know persons with disabilities do have vision, even if they don't, they may have several impairments. So today when I thought about what to share with you, I thought about the different barriers that I may have faced, and I want to tell you the 4 important barriers that persons with disabilities are experiencing in wherever spaces that they are. First, I want to talk of attitudinal barriers that persons with disabilities continue experiencing in our environment, in our country. So we are talking about the norms, the stereotypes, the prejudices, the discrimination and stigmatizations that persons with disabilities experience. So when I look at myself, for example, as a graduate, engineer graduate of JKUAT, and I visit places, and the first thing they will ask, well, will this person perform just like any other engineer? So such kind of attitudes that persons with disabilities. I did meet my good friend here today, Hannah Wanja, an excellent, prolific speaker and politician and journalist, but obviously she always faces this sort of attitudes wherever she is, wherever she goes, and many of our persons here. And I do thank the CMD for creating a space for us to share. Second is the communication barrier that people with different disabilities face. So this we are talking about people with different, they are not included in terms of communication. So when, for example, I'm not seeing what's happening in front of me, how can we create a space that is inclusive of a person like myself? What about the hearing? And I'm proud of PDF today, because as I was coming in, I had the MC calling out all the CLI, the sign language interpreters, to a caucus, to kujadiliana vile ambao what they'll deliver on this platform. So thank you, CMD, for creating that space. And so that is communication. So do we put caption? When we hear of my good friend Ashura, for example, have we created a space where she can also participate as a person who is deaf? What about those with intellectual disabilities? Yeah? What sort of communication can we put in space? And here I'm talking even to you, our leaders, our MPs, our senators. Are we being inclusive when we put all those things, when we do not put those things in space? The third is the physical environment that we participate in. We come in our parliament, our senate, our buildings. Are they accessible to persons with disabilities? When I meet my good friend Mwiti on a wheelchair user, will he be able to access this environment? And I'm glad again, because the CMD and other organizers did call and say to UDPK and asked, so how can we make this environment more accessible? Will a person who is a wheelchair user be able to access this space? What about the washrooms and other spaces? So these are the things that we need to put in space. And when I talk of environments, I do also think of physical, but also as well as virtual environment. Are we making that space also accessible? Food for thought. And finally, I want to talk of the institutional barriers that we have. Sometimes we do create policies, we do create laws, acts, and so on and so forth that are not inclusive of persons with disabilities. So it's imperative that they are on the table, that they are supported to participate in that, in those, developing those, so that we do not, by omission or commission, leave them behind. I do not want to take a lot of your time, but I just want to say that we are proud of this platform as persons with disability. We do have a stand as UDPK. We also be participating in several of these spaces. Please visit us, visit the SDG Forum, SDG Village, visit the UDPK stand and many other stands, and we do thank you, our supporters, our partners, and our friends for involving us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate our partner for inclusivity, UDPK. Thank you very much, Chairman Gondi. Wanafunzi, now I know you all want to pursue different careers, but I want a lady student who dreams to be a diplomat. Nani anataka kuwa balozi? Nani anataka kuwa balozi? Please. Girl child. Yours, come. Please. Good. Help her, please. Thank you. Thank you. I want a male student who would love to be a diplomat as their career. Can I see? Can I see? Just come. I will have a small task for you. Come. Thank you. I have a very nice task for you to help me invite the next speaker. But we'll ask her to sit, and you will go there, and you will pull all the diplomatic dance, all the diplomatic moves in terms of dance, and get the ambassador of the European Union in Kenya from where she's seated up to here. All right? Do you know her? Yes, that is the ambassador of the European Union in Kenya. And your work is to help her enjoy the music from where she's seated to this stage. It's that simple. Tell the DJ the music you want.
I think I'll just give her the privilege of asking for the music, given that we need to, have our ladies at the forefront, right? Ladies! Okay. Just ask for any music.
Let them organize with the DJ, and then they will come over and usher Her Excellency to the stage. Can we start warming up? The ambassador cannot dance alone. So if you can stand and shake something jointly with the ambassador, please do so. All right? Can we be upstanding as the DJ does his thing and the learners go to pick the ambassador? Please.
What's on? Now, simple, good.
Everybody, Let's do kids, babe. Sibanike platinum way. Akushika ding keep number. And don't sit up and shine number. Shine number busa buse. Akushipenda salala.
Nimshanza kupendi ama kwani mtihani, mambo mingi dunia na mistresi siwezi, siwezi.
Bora nicho, maisha mafupi ni siku, yani nini tesekero, jiunge nami upozeko. Bora nicho.
Thank you so much, my courageous colleagues, diplomats who ushered me onto the stage. And as a thank you, I would like to invite you to our embassy of the European Union to be EU ambassador for a day. You have my card, so please come and see what diplomatic life is all about. And just to tell you, there is no diplomatic dance. That doesn't exist. But I'm learning, and our fellow diplomats are also learning how to dance. So let me just tell you very briefly what we are doing in the EU for democracy, but first of all, let me start by asking you a question. Do you think that politics are boring? Do you think politics are boring? I bet most of you think that politics are very boring. They are not for you. I think politics can be very boring. They can be very boring if you do not get involved. It's a completely different story when you're involved. Last year on the stage, of this very event, where we were at the National Museum grounds, I remember several of you came up on stage and they said to everybody in the audience, I want to be president of this country. Several boys and girls had that courage. And I hope many of you in the audience dream of one day becoming the president of this beautiful country. Dream big, go for it. Democracy can only work if it's supported by the people. And if you, the new generation, and the future leaders of this country are not engaging in politics, democracy has no chance. It will be dead. Without participation, democracy cannot live. But democracy has to work for the people. It has to bring peace, prosperity to all of us, to all of you. And you have to be convinced that democracy delivers. Today, in this world, more countries are ruled by authoritarian regimes than countries living and enjoying a democracy. And if you have always lived in a democracy, you don't know what it means to live under authoritarian rule. I have not lived under authoritarian rule myself, but I have seen many who suffer from it. Do you appreciate freedom of speech? Do you appreciate human rights? Do you appreciate the freedom to become who you want to be? This is democracy. This is the guarantor of your fundamental freedoms. You have to defend it. Get engaged. Get involved. Build and further develop Kenya's vibrant democracy. And have the courage to become a candidate for public function and office in the 2027 elections. But all of you, please vote and hold the government that will be elected in 2027 accountable. This is the role of civil society. Without a vibrant civil society and without public engagement of all of you, Kenya cannot further develop. So this is your right and also your civic obligation. And in this way, you can make a great contribution to shape Kenya's future. And Kenya has a great reputation for being a vibrant democracy. It's an example for many other countries in Africa and around the world. So you have a reputation to protect, and I hope that all of you, as you're going into the future and build your personal lives and go from achievement to achievement and from success to success, please do not forget that without engaging in public life, you cannot prosper. Nobody can prosper. So we are all in this together, and the EU has learned that the European Union, through a democracy at the European level, we achieved peace and prosperity for many generations already. But this is not something we can take for granted. You can never take democracy, peace, and prosperity for granted. This is a fight that we have to fight every day, and the European Union is in that struggle. And we face many challenges, one of which is equity, equality, governance. I know that many of you, there has been a survey amongst you, and many of you are very, very interested and concerned about these issues. We are as well in the European Union, and in a partnership with our partnering countries, such as Kenya, we want to contribute to the development of vibrant democracies, promoting good governance and equality among the people. So, the EU is at your side, but we can only support what you yourselves are doing. So, the future is yours. Take it, and all the best to you from all our member states of the European Union. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, Balozi. Tafadhali tumshukuru Balozi akienda kuketi. Thank you very much, the European Union delegation in Kenya, for being a very wonderful partner and helping us be able to work together on having all these people come together for very meaningful and constructive dialogue. Our chief guest, I have received a text from the Speaker of the National Assembly, and he told me, if I do not invite you in the very best manner, then I'll not be in his right books. I have sought the help of MC Amoke and MC Njugush, very good young Kenyans. Please, MC Amoke and MC Njugush.
All right.
Over to you to bring the chief guest.
Asante sana.
Asante sana. Karibu sana.
Thank you. We are going to do this with decorum. So he'll just walk straight up. DJ, unaweka nini?
Sure.
Yeah, he'll just walk. Yeah, ndio sisi hao. Yes, na kama uko na 5,000 naweza kuambia usidance. All right, are we ready? I'm okay. Tuko sawa?
Njugush, mimi niko ready.
Uko ready? Haya, so tunataka kuna wimbo itawekwa na tunataka udensi mpaka tupande.
Tamu kupendwa nawe, tamu nasikia, tamu kupendwa nawe.
Tamu kupendwa
nawe, tamu kupendwa nawe. Oh, maneno, somea.
In my almost 30 plus years of politics, I think this is the best I've done in terms of dancing. Okay, I didn't do very well. You'll still give me credit because we don't swing in my culture. We jump up and down like the Maasai. So I've tried a bit of singing. Thank you very much. All protocol observed.
Audio.
Hamjambo. Hamjambo yote. I am honored to represent my speaker in this very, very, very great occasion. I also can claim some credit in the initial establishment of CMD in this country. We were those who participated very early. And I want to congratulate them for having done such a good job. My role is very simple today. I am going to read the speech of my speaker. I'm here on behalf of my speaker. And many of you refer to me as the deputy speaker. Incidentally, I'm not the deputy speaker in this parliament. I used to be a deputy speaker in the 10th parliament, but I'm in the speakers panel there, which is more like an assistant speaker. So I'll begin. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to join you for the People's Dialogue Festival, which is an initiative that brings together not just political leaders, but also the people of Kenya. I note that this is the 5th People's Dialogue Festival, the first festival having been held in 2019. To this end, allow me to commend the Center for Multi-Party Democracy for this great initiative in seeking to give the people of Kenya a platform to engage on critical issues towards good governance, accountability, and transparency. Over the years, the Center for Multi-Party Democracy has played a critical role towards strengthening political parties and enhancing multi-party democracy in our great country. Indeed, most great leaders in this country have benefited from the great work done by the Center for Multi-Party Democracy in promoting the institutional capacity of political parties. I can safely say I'm one of those people who benefited from the good work that was done by CMD in this country. I'm glad that CMD, Center for Multi-Party Democracy, has now gone beyond focusing on political parties and leaders and has identified the real link for promoting social justice and transformation in a society which is augmenting participation of the people through dialogue initiatives such as this one we are celebrating now. Further, as you are aware, last week, Parliament adopted the National Dialogue Committee report, which is a product of public engagement and dialogue on issues of concern to the people of Kenya. I did observe from the report that the Center for Multi-Party Democracy was also a key stakeholder in the dialogue process and made contributions in the dialogue towards strengthening political parties, among many other issues. Ladies and gentlemen, Article 1 of the Constitution, our Constitution, the 2010 Constitution, provides for the sovereignty of the people of Kenya. This power is exercised directly or indirectly through the three arms of government. Citizen involvement in public affairs is one way through which the sovereignty of the people of Kenya is upheld. By creating opportunities for Kenyans to discuss critical issues, I believe this respects and upholds our sovereignty. Our Constitution further espouses the national values and principles of governance, which key among them is the participation of the people. Dialogue discourses are hence the embodiment of the national values and principles of governance as espoused in the Constitution, in Article 10 of our Constitution. Indeed, by giving the people of Kenya a platform to be heard and speak out, this is the real definition of public participation. I must admit, we still do not have a statute on how public participation should be conducted, but we are doing it anyway, the way we are doing it now. The idea behind the People Dialogue Festival is even closer to us as the National Assembly. Article 95 of the Constitution provides for the functions of the House, which include to resolve the issues of concern to the people of our great republic. We, however, recognize that it's only through dialogue that one can identify the real issues of concern of the people. The idea we also recognize that it's only through dialogue that one can identify the real issues of concern to the people. Ladies and gentlemen, the Latin saying, vox populi, vox Dei, which translated means the voice of the people is the voice of God, illustrates further the sanctity of dialogue. To this end, I am pleased to note that the festival for this year is all about giving Kenyans a platform to speak up for their hearts, from their hearts and to be understood. By allowing the citizenry participation in voicing the issues of concern, this shall certainly promote the political, social, and economic development of our great country. Further, I note that the festival is also intended to be held in 6 counties through the Gumzo Mtaani Festival. In the political field, there is a slogan that goes, ground ndio kusema. In other words, all politics, at the end of the day, is local. All seasoned politicians in this country can attest to the fact that servant leadership emanates from listening to the people, to the citizens, and listening to the concerns of our people. The Gumzo Mtaani Dialogue Initiative is hence similar to being on the ground to engage Kenyans of all walks of life in a meaningful conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, for this Parliament, Article 118 of the Constitution encompasses the mechanism for engaging the people. It provides that Parliament shall facilitate public participation and involvement in the legislative and other business of Parliament and its committees. This creates a platform for engaging the people on the legislative business of Parliament itself, lawmaking. As we make laws, we have to involve the people, listen to the concerns of the people, make the right changes, and get laws that are acceptable to the people of Kenya. The jurisprudence that has been set by the courts on public participation also reaffirms the need for meaningful public participation to be undertaken in exercising our legislative mandate. For instance, recently the relevant committees of the National Assembly went beyond inviting the public to submit memoranda on conducted public hearings on the Affordable Housing Bill 2023 in several counties. The National Assembly passed the bill after extensive public participation aimed at considering the views of the people on the ground. Apart from the Constitution, the Universal Declaration of Democracy as adopted by the Interparliamentary Union, to which the Kenyan Parliament is a member, further reaffirms the need for dialogue and involvement of the public in legislative business in Parliament. Article 11 of the Declaration provides that democracy is founded on the right of everyone to take part in the management of public affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, you will also agree with me that in order to engage the public effectively in dialogue initiatives, there is need to correctly frame the issues that concern the people. I therefore commend the organizers of this festival for framing issues of a national interest for the dialogue. To this end, I note that this year's theme for the festival is focusing on issues of national interest, which are the state of the economy, citizens' economic and social rights, the cost and quality of education, governance, the green agenda, the realization of sustainable development goals, and the independence of institutions. I have also observed that the festival shall be based on several inclusive dialogue initiatives which have been dubbed as the villages. Indeed, inclusive dialogue is central to allowing plurality of views, and is also in keeping with the mantra that every voice matters. Ladies and gentlemen, They say that the ability to listen and understand is more important than the ability to speak. As I conclude, it is my sincere hope that this festival will provide a platform for all of you to listen to the great people of this republic. I have no doubt that in listening to the people, you shall also receive great ideas and suggestions for policy or legislative solutions on the areas of concern. It is also notable that after listening to the people, you should move forward towards collecting their views and submitting them to the relevant agencies, Parliament included, for appropriate action. It's only through such implementation that the people of Kenya shall in future look forward to engaging in similar fruitful initiatives. I'm wishing you a very productive festival with fruitful deliberations and engagements. You as the Speaker of the National Assembly. I, however, have a small issue to add. I heard we must hear the children or the youth of this country. It's a brilliant idea. There must be always be a conversation with the children. But that is not to ignore the fact that the children have also got to listen to the wisdom and the counseling and of the parents and the people who are older and the experience. We don't want to get into a situation in this country like you see sometimes in the developed countries where a very young class 8 or class 6 or 7 grade child will go out there, stand up to the teacher, and occasionally even assault female teachers, which you see in many parts of the world. We have traditions, we have cultures, we have our value system that predate modernization. I want to tell the children, we will listen to you, we will have a communication, we will have a discussion, but also always listen to the wisdom of the elderly. As for Kenyans, we have to have certain values also respected. That date far back, I wish my good friend Senator Sifuna was here because this is the light touch. I'm told in the Baganda kingdom of the olden days, in the Katikiro, or is it Lukiko, whatever, one of the oldest kingdoms in the world, when the king farts, somebody else used to take the responsibility. I'm not telling you that when a leader farts, somebody else should take the responsibility or breaks the wind. But what I'm telling you is that there is always a decorum and a way of engaging one another. And this decorum, civility of debates, communications, and engagements is very, very important. This country not only needs the people as a sovereignty rests with the people, but it also needs leaders who are philosophers, who are statesmen, who will be listened to. And that's why I'm telling you, the oldest constitution in the world is the American Constitution. The American Constitution, the delegates to the American Constitution were only 55. And the ones who signed that Constitution that today is the bedrock of a country of almost 500 million people, a constitution that everybody would want to emulate as much as possible, if not for any other thing, for the philosophy, was signed only by 39 people, well-educated, most of them, propertied, occasionally even slave owners those days. What I'm saying is that when I see Professor Odhiambo here, and we see all our brilliant minds here, let us listen to them in a big way. I came through Parliament myself as a very young man, barely 30 that time, but the big names of this country's independence were there. The late Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was there, Mwai Kibaki was there, Michuki was there, Dennis Okumbo was there, Lawrence Sagini was there. All the people who were there in the struggle for independence were there. and I took an opportunity to sit at their feet and listen to them. Good number of them, Zachary Onyonka, were on the other side. I was in the opposition when they were in the government. Nyachai, the late Nyachai, all of them are gone. But I still listened to them as our elders, our fathers, our uncles, and you had to have a decorum of dealing with them. Not just because they're from the opposition, you call them all sorts of names. No, we can have, I love the theme of this festival today. What is it? Competition and collaboration. We can have different opinions, but we can still be people, brothers and sisters of the same country. And we can still maintain a lot of dignity and decorum between ourselves and use that so that these children can also pick up those values from us. Today, I'm at the age where they were. When I was barely 30 plus years ago, and they were in their 60s, none of them is alive now. But if I was going to deal with them in a very harsh manner and call them names, the elderly political geniuses of this country, these ones would do the same to me today. So let's have a tradition that is going to last for generations, for centuries. Let's have a value system in our country that we can always be proud to bequeath onto the younger generations. And the way we can do it is this. It is not only a dialogue, it's dialogue. It is dialogue, and it's a festival also, which means everything is there. We will disagree, but we will agree, and we'll still be brothers and sisters and members of one great nation, the way all of us would want to bequeath to our children. Ladies and gentlemen, the youth of this country, I am happy you're seeing the difficulty of the boy child today. There's a problem with the boy child. Something has to be done. It is a crisis. It is a serious crisis because the girls are doing very well. The girls are literally in every institution, let's say 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 in some cases, and the boys are not there. We need both the boys and the girls. Thank you very much.
DJ Saidia, asante, yes. DJ Saidia Honorable Farah Maalim. Sasa kuteremka pole pole ila anaweza inuka na kuinama kidogo. The usual way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yesu alipokwisha kunena alimwambia Simoni tweka mpaka kilindini kashushe nyawe.
Thank you so much, our chief guest and our guests. We have ably come to the end of the official opening. I would ask that we all be upstanding for the East African National Anthem as the DJ sets that in motion. I want to ask our guests, please usher our guests back to the holding area, and if time allows, they will be taken round to the exhibitions. Participants, we have over 50 conversations going down over the next 4 days. We have 5 dialogue areas. After we are done, this area will be converted to what we call the Hekima village, where we will be Professor Washington Omondi here with us. We have the great Mambo Botella that will be coming here as well. This afternoon, we will be here with the chairman of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission on this platform. So please, we have the Political Parties Expo, where political parties are going to be discussing issues of governance reforms, issues of socio-economic development. Please join them at the Political Parties Expo right after the exhibitions. We have the SDGs village and the youth village on the other pitch, and our 18 years and below. They have the Nisisi Nisasa village over there. Please join in all these conversations. From here, our guests will be led to the official, to the holding area. If time allows, they'll go through the various exhibitions. If it doesn't, we will understand because of their tight schedules. May I now request that we all be upstanding, if you can, for the East African National Anthem as the closure of this official opening. DJ, over to you.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tulilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you, DJ. Let the dialogue begin. DJ, please allow us to exit the main stage. Our visitors, our ushers, please take the visitors back to the holding area briefly. And if time allows, they'll go through the exhibitions. Ushers guide the participants to the various areas of conversation. The learners be guided to the Nisisi Nisasa village. The political parties, please, all the way to the political parties expo. The ones attending the SDGs conversation, the youth and everyone, please take your location and let the dialogue begin. Asante. Please, if you came with a seat from whichever village, carry your seat back. Carry your seat back, whether you took it from the SDG village or whether you took it from the Nisisi Nisasa, please. MC Amoke, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank. Asante. I think umesema yote unafaa kusema, si ndio? All right, that was a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, that inaitwa the People's Dialogue Festival. Karibuni sana. I want you to enjoy your afternoon in each of the villages you're going to be going to. Let's have those candid conversations as we enjoy them. If you are below 18, tafadhali tupatane kwa Nisisi Nisasa. My DJ, umefunga? So we meet on the other side, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great afternoon. Thank you. Okay. Ushers, please. May I get some ushers to come and kindly assist the first tent here? Let's assist the the primary school kids here, so I can get to the various villages. Tafadhali ushers, I really appreciate that. Right? The first tent on my right. Ushers, please. Thank you.